We are just 4 days away from episode 3. I cannot explain my excitement. Actually, we're just 2 days away from, for the early people, but technically we're 2-3 days away from episode 3. Look, the point is, I am so excited. I got that feeling. You know what that feeling when you're so excited for something that you get nervous and listen, the point is, I'm so scared but excited as well for episode 3. That's why I'm out here. I'm out here making videos. Except I don't know what happened yesterday, the day before that. I don't know how the freak did I missed that. But anyway, hashtag SmackNPie, hashtag fire emoji, hashtag no emoji, hashtag Minerva is... Huh? Wait, what? Excuse me, what? About that? Don't worry about it. And no Mackie Q's, we're not engaged, so stop getting jealous of me and my mini. Anyways, today is a very, very special video for all Walking Dead fans because today we're discussing something that we should have done 2 weeks ago, but hey, it's SmackNPie. You know how things goes here, right? But all jokes aside, today we're gonna tackle one of the most important things that most of us are looking forward to, and that is Lee, but more specifically Lee and Clementine real time. Yes, no one's using that word for this, so I'm officially the first one to use this. Real-time flashback. I'm gonna tell you why I use the word real-time in just a second, but we're gonna tackle this, how this is gonna affect the story, Clementine's near death, and probably how this ties and opens a new chapter for episode 4 and episode 3's ending. I'm not gonna tackle anything from previous seasons, because that's the beauty of this final season. As this season is kind of revolves around in its own orbit, in its own universe, you don't have to have any deep knowledge of any previous seasons to enjoy this one. Especially not the third one. Speaking of which, I loved season 3. Fight me. Anyways, I almost forgot to mention that our goal for 2019 is to hit 100,000 subscribers. I know it sounds a lot, because in numbers it is a lot, but seeing this channel achieving 10k in no time definitely makes me more confident that we can achieve this goal by the end of 2019. And if we do it fast enough, I'm telling you right here, 100k and face reveal. Boom. So make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Now without further ado, let's do this also. Now, to start off, we're basically gonna work with a couple of stuff. Episode 1 and 2, all Lee's references, leaked model of Clementine and Lee, and 2 episode 3 trailers. Let's start with episode 1. As we all know, Lee is the man, the legend of this Walking Dead franchise. We played as him back in season 1, and that's where it all started for him, and sadly ended it too. But the memories were too strong to vanish. His spirit has always been there, alongside Clement, throughout tough times, bad days, every inch of survival journey. He's definitely been missed throughout years, and will always stay in fans' heart. But that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about the final season and his involvement here. You see, in the story builder, he has been mentioned a lot, and most of the choices that coincides with the final season branching has to do more with the Lee's choices that players made back in season 1, which obviously hints that we're gonna definitely see him again in the final season. Now, in episode 1, he was mentioned by Clem to the school kids and a couple of dialogues here and there, but episode 2, where it all started, seeing Lily return and her mentioning Lee over and over again to get into Clementine's head, and more Lee back and forth with her later when they attacked the school alongside AJ, mentioning Lee, that is if you shot Lee back in season 1, which was dirty and I liked it. I'll give you that, Telltale writers. You can clearly see that this was a slow build up to Lee's flashback appearance in episode 3, as in episode 4, which I'm highly confident that he'll appear even more. But sticking to episode 3, no one was sure about him actually appearing in physical form until these models were leaked online. We made an entire video on this, you can check it out, but TLDR is that we theorized that these leaked models are gonna be used in upcoming episodes as a real-time flashback, and we're gonna see these 2 models very soon. They were leaked in a very smart way that made us theorists quickly jump onto the train that yes, there will be a physical interaction between Clementine and Lee in upcoming episodes. Then comes this teaser that had only 2 new frames. What's interesting about this is that people were complaining about how they only got 2 new frames and that's it. But no one was there appreciating that they added and explicitly kind of confirmed that we're gonna see Lee again. I mean, there were people that were appreciating this, but you know, majority vocal opinions, just saying. Anyways, then comes this epic trailer, which was fire and flames. I made a reaction video as well as a breakdown video on that, you can check it out. But in that trailer, one of the most interesting part that made everyone go nuts, well at least me, was seeing Lee again with Clem. Now it's time to theorize what's it's all about, how we got to this point, how this is going to affect the upcoming episode, aka finale, and how this is going to play into entire season's ending. To understand it even better, so that we can all be on the same page, let's hear what Lee actually said in episode 3 teaser.
Guess the world got pretty hard since I left it. Kid growing up in it, he'd be hard too. You're in my shoes now. You're strong, Clem. You can do anything. Time to go, Clementine. You've got people that need you.
Now that we know what he said, we can actually come up with pretty interesting theories. But before we interpret each line and what does that supposed to mean, let's try to understand how we got to this point. How did we end up in a real-time flashback with Lee? Now from the trailer, it's quite obvious that we're going to Delta and either we're gonna get caught or we're gonna be successful. Not gonna happen. That's got nothing to do with that. However, from this shot, I theorized that something happened to Clem here. Either she'll get brutally injured or get bit by the end of episode 3, or someone else got shot or injured like Lewis or Violet or someone else, and seeing them getting injured lead to that frame. Now, with that info in mind, there are a couple of things we need to keep in mind. Lee and Clementine real-time flashback means that they're actually gonna talk to each other about current events, and Lee is gonna give his reactions. There are two ways this can possibly go. Number one, and this is quite solid, a dream sequence that lead to Clementine and Lee flashback. Now the reason this is solid because in a teaser when Lee said time to go Clementine, after that Clem woke up and AJ was standing on the right side, and before anyone says that hey that's from episode 2, no it's not. I tried different branching in episode 2, I haven't seen this frame specifically. This also ties with ranch flashback. Those are so random that Clem get those sequence in random nights in random sleeps, so it's a no stretch for me to say that this is after what happened in episode 2 ending. People got kidnapped, Mitch's death, freaking mess all over the place, and remaining kids can't seem to get along, which obviously means less encouragement, which leads to Clementine being all sad and discouraged because let's face it, school kids were dependent on her and she's kind of leader in all of this, even though Violet was before, but that doesn't matter. So obviously her being all discouraged led to her remembering how Lee would have handled this situation, how he and what he would do in this situation, which leads to a flashback, a real-time flashback. That's why when that dream sequence started, Clem was sitting alone with a sad face and Lee's voice aka appearance shocked her in the dream too. So that's your first possibility. Number 2 is that she gets this sequence after a brutal fight, but more specifically when she gets brutally injured. This also ties with this screenshot of her being hurt or getting bit by the end of episode 3. Now to go even more specific, here's how things could go. Clem and the party get to Delta. They went into a brutal fight. Some people die, someone get injured, but Clem out of all gets brutally hurt, which leads to the remaining kids getting captured alongside Clem because she's vulnerable now because she's hurt, remember? And now that she's hurt, she fades away, which brought her to this sequence. One more thing, at this point, regardless of whether they actually do this one or previous one or none, Clem will be at a point where she's like, freak it, I can't handle that much, because she just wants AJ to survive and move on. She doesn't care about herself, she doesn't want to survive. She's got enough of all of this. That's why Lee in the dream said, time to go Clementine. You got people that need you, obviously foreshadowing that now's not the time. There are still some things left to do. There are still people out there who want your help, and only then you can have peace. It's a weak possibility, but the order of this one, if intermingled with the first one, can work solidly. And after that dream, she wakes up in Delta or other community's prison, as one of the achievements point to tally mark, which means that we're gonna be in some sort of prison for a specific period of time. So this kind of count as both. Again, one dream at home after discouraged Clem, or a dream after getting brutally injured, thinking that we're failed. We've failed everyone. We've failed Lee. That's why those lines are interesting. And then waking up with more courage to fight back after getting caught. And finally, about those lines, the only one that matters is the final one. Time to go Clem, which means and points towards we shall see each other very soon, since we got some responsibility left. I don't know, man, this is way too emo, and yes, episode 4 is mostly towards that, and I am aware. Now I personally stand by both theories, and I believe that Lee's dream is gonna be indeed Clem's motivation and encouragement, aka wake-up call after any mess, either point 1 or 2, but remember, that was just my theory. The guy theory. Be sure to let me know what you think of this, and I'm really interested nonetheless. With that being said, if you enjoyed today's video and want to see more, make sure to hit that like button. If you're new here and want to support me and help me get to 100,000 subscribers by the end of 2019, smash that subscribe button. Remember, I need help. Please become an official member of SmackNPie. I'm Smack, and I am tired as freak. I honestly love you all of you, but until next time, take care of yourself and your family, stay humble and be grateful, and peace.